BitPinas, the oldest and most established crypto publication in the Philippines. Michael will be joined by Taehoon Kim, better known as TK, founder of Spekter Games and former co-founder of Nway, to discuss the role that Telegram and super apps can play in expanding the reach of Web3 gaming.
All right, GM, everyone. My name is Michael. I'm the editor of BitPinas. It is a crypto publication here in the Philippines, and we've been covering YGG for quite some time, and happy to be invited here again at the YGG Play Summit. Now, thank you, Gabby, Leia, and the team at YGG. So, we are joined here by Web3 entrepreneur TK, all the way from San Francisco. TK, thank you for joining us here at the YGG Play Summit. First of all, no, as a way of, the first question, like, how is the Philippine experience so far, and what are you looking forward to in the conference?
So I've been to Philippines before, but only like the resort, like island areas. And it's my first time here at Manila. I just landed last night, so I haven't had the chance to kind of look around yet. But the state looks beautiful, especially this area. And first time for the YGG Play Summit as well. And so much great energy here. It's like feels like being in the capital of Web3 and Web3 gaming. So yeah, I'm just so stoked to be here.
Thank you, TK. No, and I saw your booth below the Spectre booth at the exhibition floor, and I see that there's a lot of interest with your product. So, TK, I saw your your background, and I see a pretty diverse background all the way from Samsung, working with stuff like Pixelberry, and then to Nway, eventually to Animoca, then Spectre. I see that your career right now in Web3 like spans every major gaming or Web3 gaming era, no, if there's one. So, but first, I would like to for you to walk us through that time, no, by way of an introduction. Walk us through that time before Nway, before Web3, before Animoca. What are the things that you learned from there that led to a successful path later on, and eventually, with Web3?
Yeah, so I've been in kind of gaming all my career. Like you alluded to earlier, I started my career at Samsung, and this is like pre-iPhone days, early 2000s. I was in their new business development team, where I was a PM for their gaming phone. It was like a first game-dedicated phone at the time, and I was kind of traveling the world trying to source games and content for that platform. And then I fell in love with the game industry. I left Samsung and joined a new startup at that time called Real Time Worlds, founded by legendary game designer Dave Jones, who created Lemmings and also Grand Theft Auto. So I kind of teamed up with him. I was one of the early employees. We created games like Crackdown, APB, basically like an online version of Grand Theft Auto. I left right before the company was acquired. I started my own company called Nurian Software, which is like a combination of a virtual world platform, kind of like Second Life, and like a music dance game called M-Star. The game was very popular in Southeast Asia, and the company was acquired by a South Korean giant, Netmarble. Continued to be like a very profitable game for like over a decade. And then I left and created Pixelberry, which focused on social games on Facebook and other platforms. And then I moved to San Francisco and started Nway. Yeah.
All right. Now, so it is interesting because, for example, Gabby of YGG, and then earlier Junie, and then Vince, Joe, much of the speakers, they been in gaming from way back, like you. So now with Nway, I believe you guys are responsible for some of the products like I believe Power Rangers and WWE. Maybe I can ask you who is your favorite wrestler, no, if ever. But Power Rangers, WWE, these are games, or these are massive IPs, no, massive brands. They have mass market appeal. So, like, can you tell us lessons from there. So with Enway and then building these games based on massive IP, what have you learned from those things in making sure these games have mass market appeal?
So yeah, I love to. My thing is like whenever a new technology emerges, trying to create a new gaming experience that could kind of go viral on its own instead of having to spend too much on UA. So back then there were like all these emerging platforms for gaming, like smart TVs, browsers, and mobile was new. So the whole thesis behind Enway, and this is where the name comes from, because Enway means like multiplayer, right? So I wanted to create a game studio that focuses on real-time multiplayer games that could run on multiple platforms. Like someone could be on like mobile, and you could be on like a browser, and someone else can be on like a PC, and like all play together in real time. And this is commonplace now with like games like Minecraft or Roblox and Fortnite, but back then this was like a brand new concept. There was no game that does that. So we had to create our own custom tech to enable that. Our first game, Chronoblade, was the first action RPG where you can do PvP with people on different platforms. So that got a lot of attention. That game was published by Netmarble and NetEase in China. And then we got a big break when the president of Lionsgate, they were making a Power Rangers movie back then. And it came to me like, oh, I saw Chronoblade in China. We'd love to make a fighting game. So we ended up licensing Power Rangers IP and we created the world's first mobile fighting game that was PvP only. Meaning there's like no, a game like Clash Royale where there's no single player progression, it's all PvP. So it was a fighting game that did that. We got a ton of downloads, like close to 100 million downloads. And the game was super successful, and that's what like put us on the map, basically. Yeah.
I see. I see. And the learning from there is basically, well, I mean, I don't know, but well, I guess because it is Power Rangers, it is WWE, it's like there's an audience immediately. Is
Like
that
a
correct?
fit between IP, right? Because Power Rangers IP and fighting game IP, and also the novelty of doing a real-time fighting game only. That kind of like, and also timing with a new Power Rangers movie that kind of came all
Yes.
together. And without spending too much on marketing, the game just went ballistic and went crazy. Oh, and then another fun story is our fans were asking for like a console and PC game too. So we created a second game called Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which became like a fighting game on like all platforms, like console, all the consoles, Stadia, which is like a streaming platform, and PC. We're the only fighting game to do that. And on San Diego Comic-Con, I met with the producer of Street Fighter, and he was like, oh, I'm a big Power Rangers fan. So we ended up kind of working together with Capcom. So we brought like all the major Street Fighter characters and made them into Power Rangers, like Chun-Li Ranger and Ryu Ranger, and that kind of also made Enway famous because it was like such a new concept to make Street Fighter into Power Rangers. Yeah.
All right. No, so thank you for sharing that. And so now with Web3. So I'm sure you've heard about reports of, may I state now what was mentioned, like Web3 gaming might be struggling due to friction in onboarding and designs that take the fun out. So that's not my quote, no, someone else said that. But what do you think about those statements, about the friction in onboarding users to Web3? And on your vision on how you solve those things?
Yeah, so Enway was acquired by Animoca Brands early 2000, and my contract was to stay for 3 years, and during those 3 years, that was like our mission. So they were like, hey, like you guys figure out how to bring on board like the typical mainstream gamers onto Web3 because we were able to create like all these amazing games. And so we worked with like high mass market brands like the Olympics IP, right? So we were the exclusive game developer for the Paris Olympics and Beijing Olympics, and we became the exclusive partner for Olympic NFT pins, and we created a marketplace for that. And so we did that, and was also like partner with like top tier Web3 IPs too. Like we partnered with Yuga Labs to do a mech fighting game using the Bored Ape IP. And we also collaborated with a lot of the Animoca brands, like subsidiaries. We tried a lot of things. We were able to excite the Web3 gaming community, but yeah, we weren't able to bring on board the typical mass market gamers because of all this friction and other stuff. Yeah. So at Spekter Games, my goal was like, okay, I'm going to try to finally achieve that goal using the super app platforms.
All right. So now we move to the super app platforms, no? Chat apps like Telegram, for example. I wanted to know like specifically how how a super app actually solve those things about onboarding. I know that Telegram, for example, has like 900 million users, right? So I guess that's one thing that it has an audience already, or what other things? How does it solve the Web3 onboarding problem?
Yeah, so one thing that we noticed on our journey during our time at Animoca Brands was like, there's two main things, right? The friction of like having to, like, create a wallet and then fund it and
Yes.
connect it and own like tokens. It was like too much for the ordinary gamers. And then the game design model and like the monetization model and the core loop behind the gaming changing, I think that was also like very difficult for typical gamers. If you think about it, like the Web 2 industry spent billions and billions of dollars iterating on how to best create core loops and monetization tactics for gamers, right? We can't really try to change that too much because that evolved over a lot of time, a lot of money. So we try not to change that. So our thing is like, okay, let's not try to change the Web 2 gaming. Take the typical free-to-play Web 2 gaming formula, and we've done it before, so we know how to do that. And then add to it a incentive platform learned from Web 3. So Web 2 gaming and Web 3 incentive platform can join together to make it seamless for gamers to start playing, and then also make it seamless for gamers to also receive on-chain rewards.
All right.
And I felt that the emergence of chat-based super apps like Telegram and Line was like a perfect place to do this because it solves distribution issues. That is like common problem for Web 2 games. It makes payment frictionless because you can just you don't have to enter in credit card. You can just use the Telegram stars or their platform currency to pay. And then also it has a connected wallet already. Everybody who uses Telegram has a wallet that you can just turn on. And so you're able to receive rewards easily, right? So I was like, hey, this is a good place to have a publishing company that can make Web 2 and Web 3 frictionless for ordinary gamers.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for that. No? And I do understand that when you, with Telegram, you actually do not need to install another application because it is already there. It is already on your phone. So now I want to move forward because you mentioned about on-chain rewards, and I believe this ties up to your new product, your new game IP, the Spekter Agency. Let us know more about it, and I guess one key thing about what is non-negotiable for you when you build Spekter.
So Spectre Agency is a roguelite game, kind of similar to the Survivor.io or Archero 1 and 2. It's a bit more advanced, the graphics more advanced, the gameplay is more fun because Survivor.io is kind of an old game. So we made a game we think that can totally satisfy ordinary gamers, and then we added the Web3 incentive system that we announced today at YGG Play Summit at our stage about an hour ago. We call it the Spec Hub. We didn't want to do the typical play where you just airdrop tokens to players. So what Spec Hub is, basically you play our games to receive Spark points, and at the end of every season, there's a leaderboard for Sparks. And if you're on the top of the leaderboard, you're able to kind of claim what we call Spec Vaults. And these are digital collectibles that contain our token, Spec. And you're able to retrieve the token by burning it, or you can collect them and increase, and each of them has a collector point associated with it. So you can collect them, increase your collector points, and if you have a lot of collector points, then you kind of go higher up on our membership tier. And if you're high up in our membership tier, kind of like airline membership, with like bronze, gold, silver, diamond, whatnot, then we continuously provide like more on-chain rewards, more benefits, more ecosystem benefits, perks, and things like that. So yeah, people have a choice. burn it to get tokens, or
Yes.
keep it and accrue more value on top of it. So we wanted to try something innovative there. We're innovating on how loyalty system works and how incentive systems work, and then combining that with like a top world-class Web 2 game with its own in-app purchase model, so that the game itself can also generate revenue, and we can also take a portion of that revenue and then kind of feed it back into like the ecosystem as well.
All right,
Yeah.
and I can imagine the feedback has been good so far, no? On your on this announcement. What I have, prior to that about stuff like Spark Point, if I remember, or Spark Hub that you guys had, and your thesis about the unified rewards layer, no? So across all your games, eventually, I guess to wrap up, like, what is the ultimate value for for your users about that? And then, how do you see, Web3 gaming in the next few years?
Well, I fundamentally believe that there's some sort of Web3 kind of technology will seep into gaming, and everybody knows that the goal has to be bringing on board the mass market gamers to achieve that, and that's what we're tackling. We believe that it already happened here, but like we believe super apps like can become something that is mass market in the Western world too. Like Kakao is big in Korea, Line is big in Japan, and WeChat is big in China. And they've all evolved to become like super apps, but it really hasn't happened in the Western world, and I think that will happen. And these can become a powerful platform for all sorts of things, including gaming. And I think it's a perfect platform to enable a hybrid Web 2, Web 3 gaming. So I think it's still early days, but I think the future is bright for this type of gaming on super apps, because we're just getting started.
All right. Actually, I guess to wrap it up now. So I was at this conference last month in Singapore, where the guy from Robinhood was mentioning about a future where crypto and traditional finance will no longer be divided. They will just be finance.
Yeah.
So I believe that's also the same for Web3 gaming. Web3
Yeah, it'll just
gaming,
be gaming.
traditional games, everything will just be games
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you so much, TK, for this conversation. And yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael and TK. Next up, we have Daryl Lim from Drive Digital, a consultancy that's helped nurture various early